everyone. My name is Asmita Mainani and I'm the Director of Student Recruitment here at Pacific International. So through this video, I want to talk to all the students out there and give them details about everything, almost everything that you need to know before you decide to study in USA or before even you consider this as an option. So let's get started. So the first thing that I want to let you know about is the academic requirement. So what you need to understand is that the minimum academic requirement required for your admission to a university is even less than 2. So even if you have a 2 GPA, you can get admitted to a US university. But that does not mean that I recommend all the students with low GPA to apply, because there will be a potential risk to your application and to your visa as well. So what I recommend is that if you have a GPA of 2.75 and more, then it is recommended for you to apply. Otherwise, if you have a less GPA than that, you are eligible to apply. You can apply, you can go through the similar process as all the other students go, but it can be slightly risky. So you have to take that into consideration. Regarding students who want to go for a master's degree, then the percentage of the GPA requirement, let's talk in percentage for now, it's around 45%. So even if you have just 45% in your master's degree, you are eligible to apply to a US university. But it is recommended that you have at least a 60% in order to apply to a US university. So that was the academic requirement. To sum it up, if you have 2 or 45%, then you are eligible to apply, but that does not mean that you are guaranteed to get admission to a US university. You might end up with a less competitive university, but you are eligible. But it is recommended that you try to get a good GPA if you are in school or if you are in college right now, so that you can avoid the risks. The second requirement that we are going to talk about is the English proficiency test requirement. So you can understand it as IELTS, TOEFL, PT, Duolingo. So these are the tests that you must take in order to get admitted to a lot of US universities. It is compulsory for a lot of US universities, while there are some universities which does not need any of these tests. So you might be hearing this rumor that you can apply without IELTS, without PT, without TOEFL. Yes, that's true. You can apply without any English proficiency tests, and for that you need to get a letter from your school or college that you have studied in English language. But that's not what I recommend, because first thing is English language is a very important criteria when you are going to study in a foreign country, and when you'll be studying in a foreign language, it will be important for you to know the language. And if you are confident about your English proficiency, then taking these tests must not be a problem. But if you are not confident, then you can face a lot of problem when you go to a foreign country. So I recommend students to give at least one of these tests. But if you are in a hurry, or if you hate these English proficiency tests, then you can apply without these tests as well. But I do not recommend that. It's not what I recommend at all. So talking about the tests that you can give, if you have a 6 overall in IELTS, then you are eligible to apply to most of the bachelor's degree programs. And if you have a 6.5 or more, then you are eligible for most of the master's degree programs. There are some exceptions in that as well. For example, there are some universities which will accept you even if you have a 5.5 in IELTS for bachelor's degree, and some universities will accept you even if you have a 6 in IELTS for master's degree. And some universities can have higher requirement than that as well. But in general, if you have a 6 in IELTS, then you are eligible for bachelor's degree programs. And if you have a 6.5 in IELTS, then you are eligible to most of the master's degree programs. So basically 6 in IELTS, 51 in PTE, 70 in TOEFL, and 95 in Duolingo is the baseline from where the acceptance starts. Now let's get to the main part, that is the application procedure. So in order to get acceptance from a university, the first thing that you need to do is collect all the required documents. So I have listed down all the required documents in the description. So you can go there, get your checklist, and then start collecting the documents. So the basic requirements are your academic documents, English proficiency test results, recommendation letters, your passport, and your bank balance certificate. But some universities have some other required documents like essays as well. But the basic checklist is there in the description box, so you can check that. So after you have collected all these required documents, then you can start your application process. That will be online. Once you apply, once you submit all the required documents, then you will get your acceptance letter and another letter that is called I-20. So I-20 is the most important document when you are applying for a F1 visa, because this letter includes your university details, your university name, address, the course you are willing to study, the tuition fee, the living expenses, the scholarship you have got, and everything. So that is the main letter that you will be using for the visa application process. So after you have your I-20, you can fill up your DS-160 form, create a CGI portal, book an appointment with the US Embassy, and get ready for the interview, because interview is where the visa decision is made. So this is the basic application procedure, whereas there are some other steps to be followed, like an interview with the university if you are applying for a competitive university. So keep that in mind. This is a general application procedure. Now let's get to the cost and tuition fee and scholarships, because a lot of you must be wondering how much does it cost for me to study in the USA and all. So let's talk about the tuition fee. The tuition fee in USA starts from $3,000 and can be as expensive as $50,000-$60,000 per year. That is the 1 year tuition fee. But there is a basic range of tuition fee that most of the international students choose, and that ranges from around $6,000 to around $13,000-$14,000. So this is the range that most of the international students tend to choose, 6,000 to around $14,000. This much will be your tuition fee for 1 year. Now this amount depends on the university you will choose, the scholarship you will get, and everything else. Whereas when we talk about the living expenses and other expenses, it depends from state to state. The average living cost is around $10,000 to $12,000 in most of the states, but it's again very different considering the place you will go, the accommodation plans that you will choose, and everything. But you must be really interested to know how much will it take for me when I go to USA, or the total cost from starting to once I reach USA. So that amount ranges from, if we talk in Nepali rupees, then it will be around 10 lakh Nepali rupees to around 15 to 20 lakh Nepali rupees, depending on how expensive your university is and how much of prepayment you want to make. Like for some universities, you have to pay the tuition fees before you go to USA, whereas for some universities, you can pay a little bit, you can pay a deposit, and then you can pay the rest when you reach USA. So you must have at least 10 lakh Nepali rupees, and it can go up to 20 lakh Nepali rupees, depending on your university and your payment plan. Now let's talk about the scholarships, which I'm sure many of you are very interested to know about. So the easiest kind of scholarship to get is a merit-based scholarship that is based on your GPA. A lot of universities have the same amount of scholarship for every single students who are admitted. That scholarship starts from around $7,000 to $9,000 per year. That is the minimum that we recommend. There are universities which will not give you any scholarships as well, but what we recommend is that at least have a $7,000 to $9,000 worth of scholarship, the minimum one. But if you have a good GPA, then you can get merit-based scholarships as well. For example, if you have a GPA of more than 3, then you'll be eligible to the merit-based scholarship in a lot of universities, which means you can get up to 17,000 US dollars in general for national universities, and you can get even up to 25 to 40,000 US dollars for this scholarship per year if it's not a national competitive university. So my recommendation is do not proceed forward without any scholarship, because you can get a very good scholarship even if you do not have SAT or you do not have a very competitive GPA or scores. So at least get some scholarship before you apply for the visa or proceed forward. So like I told you, even if you have a 2.5 GPA in your high school, if you meet the basic criteria, you can get up to 7 to 9,000 US dollars worth scholarship. But if you have a good GPA, competitive GPA, then I have seen students getting up to 42,000 US dollars worth scholarship for 1 year. That is a big amount. But it also depends on how much the total tuition fee is again. But yes, you will be eligible for this kind of scholarship without SAT as well. But if you have a good understanding of mathematics and English, then I recommend you to go for your SAT test, because SAT can open a lot of closed doors for you. It can help you to even get a Fulbright scholarship. It can help you get a full tuition waiver as well. But that path is not going to be easy. You'll have to research about a lot of universities, talk to a lot of them. But there are options as such as well. So if you have a competitive GPA, if you are good with English and mathematics, then I recommend you to go for SAT as well. SAT, let's talk a little bit about it. It's not like IELTS or TOEFL. IELTS, TOEFL, PT, Duolingo, these are the English language tests. Whereas SAT is a standardized test that will assess your ability in mathematics and English. It's not a compulsory part of application, but if you are good with it, you can go for SAT as well. Now let's proceed forward with the main thing, that is the student visa interview. So you must have known about it if you have done some research about the US application process, but most of the 99% of the student visas are decided based on the interview. So it's either pass or fail with a visa grant or refusal. So there are 3 criteria required for you to get the visa. First, you must be a very genuine student. You must have the intention to study. Second, you must come back to your home country after you complete your studies. You must not have any other plans. And the third criteria is that you must have enough money to pay for all your expenses, not just for 1 year, for all your expenses. So you'll have enough bank balance for the first year living expenses and tuition fees. And you must show the sources of income in your family that can help you cover the rest of the expenses for the rest duration, like 3 or 4 years, whatever your study duration is. So if you can convince the officer about these 3 criteria, then the chances of you getting the visa will be very high. Now let's talk about life after visa. What will happen after you get a US visa? How will my life be like? What can I expect? The life after you get the visa depends a lot in the tuition fee you need to be paying, in the university you'll be studying, and the program you are into. Like if you have been accepted to a Fulbright program where you do not need to pay anything to the university, then that's wonderful. You are going to have an awesome student life. Whereas if you have a very high tuition fee and you are planning to work part-time to pay your tuition fees, then it's not going to be an easy task. It's not going to be an easy task at all. You'll have to face a lot of difficulties. So tell your parents that they need to support you whenever you need them, if you have a very high tuition fee to pay. But if you are going for a community college which has a just 3 to 4,000 US dollars tuition fee, then it must not be a big problem. But right now the focus should be on your education, because even if you will work really hard, face a lot of hurdles in these 3 to 4 years of education, it can be really worthy after you get your degree. So I really recommend all the students out there to focus on your education for now. Get a good degree, get skillful, because right now in this competitive world, you need to be really qualified, really talented, skillful in order to get a good career. So focus on your education for now, and then later you can think about a lot of other things like earning money, saving, and sending it to your family. So focus and study for now. So I think I covered most of the things that students need to know um, while they are applying for USA. But if I have missed anything in my video, then you can let me know from the comments, and I'll be happy to reply to the comments and let you know that these are the things that you need to consider. So that's all for today, everyone. Have a great day. Bye bye.